Welcome to Vedic Mathematics Basis Values classes. In this phase 9 of 5 space VMST, lesson 52 is focusing upon a Ling and Murti, these pair of forms of the formates which are of specific significance for the chase along this format. In continuity, we are exposing ourselves to the Shiv Puran, ancient textbook. This ancient textbook is a scripture, it is a Samhita, it is of the order of the Vedas. Shiv Puran is a scripture, it is a complete scripture, it is of the order of the Vedas, as each of its component is a Samhita, is a Veda. Therefore, Shiv Puran shall be approached with the transcendental respect. With this transcendental respect, when we shall be opening this book, and we will be sequentially going from the first shloka up till the last shloka of this text, we shall be feeling blissful. We will be feeling that we are making ourselves worthy of the great transcendental grace. The textbook of Shiv Puran shall be chased for its organization. It shall be chased for its values. It shall be chased for its format. It shall be chased for its sequential knowledge. It shall be chased for its pure values formats. It shall be chased for its applied values formats. Therefore, when we are being face to face with this ancient text, then let us put to ourselves that we are in fact trying to initiate ourselves for being worthy for the transcendental grace. This means that we are approaching with faith that this ancient wisdom, as it is organized and as it has reached us and as is advised to be followed sequentially in the way this scripture stands organized, then in fact we have been put on a transcendental path. We are being put on the transcendental path of the format of a Sthapatya miring rod. We know Sthapatya miring rod is a synthetic setup of hypercubes 1 to 6, and it is meant for sweeping 6-space domain. Therefore, Sthapatya miring rod as such is organized for sweeping the entire solar universe. And we also know that the solar universe existence phenomena and the existence phenomenon within Purusha format are of the parallel features. These parallel features, as these are being faced. We are trying to be face to face with this organization feature of this particular text as to how the solar universe existence phenomenon within solar universe, the existence phenomenon of a solar universe may be within frames or without frames, including the existence phenomenon within the Purusha format, within human frame, within our own body. As it is organized, the same is to be faced, same is to be imbibed. It is for this imbibing that we are going to be face to face with the features and values of the organization format of the text of Shiv Puran. This text of Shiv Puran is organized as 7 samhitas, And the second Samhita, Rudra Samhita, is of 5 parts, and the last 7th Samhita is also 2 parts. This as such makes it a text of 12 parts. This organization of 12 parts is a transition and transformation from the organization of 7 steps into an organization of the 12 steps. We know that 5 space plays the role of a transcendental boundary of a self-referral domain, and it is of 12 components. Therefore, the transcendental boundary of 6 space, which is of 12 components, is to be seen being organized as of 5 parts and of a 7 parts. It is this feature of the organization of the transcendental boundary of self-referral domain 6 space which deserves to be imbibed well. Therefore, let us make an entry in our notebook as that the transcendental boundary of 12 components with its split or reorganization for 12 as 5 and 7 is the feature which is being availed by the organization format of a Shiv Puran. The organization of 12 as 5 and 7 leads us to a grid 5 cross 7. This grid 5 cross 7 we know accommodates 35 double-digit numbers of 6 place value system. Therefore, this organization of Shiv Puran as 7 Samhitas with internal organization for steps for transition and transformation into of 12 parts is going to be a parallel to a organization at the transcendental boundary of a self-referral domain. This organization at the transcendental boundary of 6 space is a feature of as 5 and 7. Further, we know that 5 space plays the role of dimension of 7 space. Therefore, this feature, this organization feature of Samhita initially being a organization of 7 Samhitas, and these 7 Samhitas are having internal organization as of the 12 Samhitas, and these 12 Samhitas is a parallel to the features of a transcendental boundary of the self-referral domain. Therefore, 5 space as dimension to transcendental boundary of 12 components. So 5 space as a domain in the role of a dimension transiting and transforming into the role of a transcendental boundary. Therefore, sequentially, the organization of the text of Shiv Puran deserves to be changed. Let us mention it specifically as that the organization of the text of Shiv Puran is of 7 Samhitas. These 7 Samhitas are so organized that these provide the internal features so that it transits and transforms into a text of 12 Samhitas. So this reach from 7 to 12 for 5 space, therefore 5 space as a domain in the role of 5 space as a dimension when takes to a transcendental boundary, 5 space in the role of a boundary. Therefore 5 space as a domain, 5 space as a dimension, and 5 space as a transcendental boundary. One can further have a pause here and take note that 5 space itself is a solid order space. We further know that 5 space with 3 space as dimension and 3 space itself is of 7 geometries range. Therefore, this organization feature which is initiated with the initial organization feature as that Shiv Puran is a scripture of 7 Samhitas. The value 7, the 7 steps long organization of the Shiv Puran Samhita takes us to the 7 geometries range of a 3 space, and 3 space being in the role of the dimension of 5 space. As such, the organization of Shippuran is essentially taking us to the solid order. The solid order takes us to 7 geometries range. These 7 geometries range are becoming the initial organization format of the 7 samhitas. So 7 samhitas of Shiv Puran at initial stage are availing 7 geometries range, parallel to which are 7 versions of hypercube 3. Therefore, 7 versions of hypercube 3 as representative regular bodies of hypercube 3, and same being the representative regular bodies of the 7 geometries of 3 space. Therefore, the organization format of Shiv Puran deserves to be approached beginning from a solid order. As we know that we have been initially at a spatial order of a creator's space, which has taken us to the creative boundary of the transcendental cavity. So, to transit from the spatial order limitation, which takes us up till the creative boundary, to the solid order with which only we can enter the transcendental cavity, being of a solid order. Therefore, the Shiv Puran Samhita, with its initial organization feature of 7 samhitas, is providing us a 7 geometries format of a 3 space, and each geometry is having a representative regular body, and the 7 versions of hypercube 3 as such are becoming the range of representative regular bodies of 7 geometries of 3 space. With this availability of this particular feature, then when we go a step ahead, we see that the internal organization of the Shiv Puran is that it makes it a set of a 12 samhitas. It is this transition from the value 7 to value 12 takes us to that it amounts to that 7 space, which is of a 5 space as a dimensional order. It amounts to a superimposition of a transcendental dimension upon the unity state. So it is this superimposition of 5 space as dimension upon the 7 space as the domain created by 5 space dimension. Therefore, this feature is the glaring feature, and it is because of this feature that this organization is capable of transiting and transforming from the setup of 7 steps long range to 12 steps long range. This inherent reorganization, this inherent organization, which provides us 5 extra units for this organization, is amounting to that 5 space as dimension stands segregated from the 7 space unity state created by 5 space. Therefore, 7 space as domain created and 5 space as dimension stands segregated. So the 12 components boundary of 6 space makes it of a 2 parts. Let us make a specific note that the organization feature of Shiv Puran brings to focus as that the transcendental boundary of 12 components of self-referral domain is to be seen as a synthetic setup of 2 parts. First part is of the 5 components and another part is of the 7 components. Now we know that when each of the transcendental boundary component is stripped off, means when the cosmic window stands created, then the 5 space component which gets stripped off in the outer space, then it dimensionalizes the outer space as a 7 space. the dimensionalization of the space outside six space domain is the technological attainment feature of the comprehension of our ancestors, well preserved in the Shipron, and it is the same which is to be imbibed. Therefore, let us make a specific note that the component, one of the components of the self-referral domain boundary, when gets stripped off, then it dimensionalizes the out space as a 7 space. Now we know that the 6 space is a creative dimensional order. 4 space plays the role of a 6 space, and 4 space itself is of a spatial order. Therefore, at dimension of dimension level, there would be a spatial order. Therefore, as many as 5 specific components, when get stripped off, these together will be creating a spatial order for the specific windows. Therefore, 5 transcendental components, each being a 5 space domain, will be giving us a value 5 cross 5 is equal to 25. We know that value 25 is the transcendental code value of formulation Vishnu. Therefore, 5 cosmic windows at the self-referral domain, because of 5 components, transcendental components, together shall be creating a order of the universe presided by Lord Vishnu. Therefore, the feature is that Sthapatya miring rod available is going to be projected for further chase of the outer dimensionalized space, and we know that the 7 components together will give us a value 5 into 7 is 35, and this is parallel to double digit numbers of 6 place value system accommodated by 5 cross 7 grid. All these features deserves to be comprehended well. One shall sit comfortably, one shall pray initially with the text of Ganita Sutras as 16 sutras and 13 sutras, giving us a prayer range of 29 steps. At the second phase, we have to pray in terms of the augmented text, that 13 Ganita Sutras are bridging the gaps between the consecutive sutras. And the third phase and stage of the prayer is that when we are in a position to see that this augmented text itself gets available a dimonad format for each of the letters. So initially praying as 16 plus 13, 29 steps. At second phase, a prayer as an augmented text, and at third stage, a prayer as provision of a dimonad format for each of the letters. These are 3 distinct phases and stages of the prayer, and parallel to it are the 3 distinct phases and stages of the transcendental meditation. When we will be glimpsing, and when we will be face to face with the Shipran Samhita, then we will see that the Lord Shiva and the goddess are in such organization featured a transcendental phenomenon that we are having a Uma Samhita. We are also having a Parvati Khand, and we are also having a Sati Khand. Therefore, Uma, Sati and Parvati, these are the 3 distinct phases and stages of the transcendental values sequential evolution. Transcendental values evolve sequentially in 3 phases and stages. These three phases and stages of evolution of the transcendental values are the three goddess reservoirs, threefold transcendental reservoir of the goddess as Uma, as Sati, and as Parvati. Therefore, from this phenomenon of threefold transcendental phenomenon of evolution of the transcendental values, which sequentially take us to that the Lord Shiva is a transcendental Lord of 5 heads, and each head is equipped with a triple eyes. Therefore, let us have a pause here and let us permit the transcending mind to be parallel to these organization features of a Shiv Puran. Let us make a note that the transcendental values evolution is of threefold phases and stages. These threefold phases and stages of evolution of the transcendental values are being preserved for us in this Samhita as the transcendental values reservoir of goddess Uma, transcendental values reservoir of goddess Sati, and transcendental values reservoir of the goddess Parvati. Then further, this organization well preserves for us that Lord Shiva, the transcendental Lord, is a 5-head Lord with each head is equipped with a triple eyes. So these triple eyes, these triple threefold phases of the evolution of the transcendental values, when are taken to from the geometric format of a yoga to as artifices of the numbers as a Sankhya Nishtha, then it takes us to the triple numbers 1, 2 and 3. These triple numbers is a unique triple. As we know that 1, 2 and 3, all of them are not accepting any divisor of less value less than the number itself. So 1, 2 and 3 are not having a proper divisor. Therefore, this unique triple values 1, 2 and 3, these three eyes set up for each of the head of Lord Shiva, and the triple phases evolution of the transcendental values in the form of the goddess reservoirs of Uma, Sati and Parvati are the transcendental features which deserve to be imbibed thoroughly. It is only with imbibing of these features, it is only by being face to face with it that we will be sequentially melting our mental state. So the linear order mental state of the intelligence field is to be melted, and we will reach the spatial order for the intelligence field. With the melting of the spatial order for the intelligence field, we shall be entering the solid order of our intelligence field. Now it is only with the sequential melting of linear, spatial and solid orders that we will be reaching the creative order for the intelligence field. It is this attainment of the intelligence field, creative order for the intelligence field, is the attainment which is being aimed by the sadhakas, the students of Vedic Mathematics, Science and Technology. Moment one feels that one has attained this particular phase and stage, then one shall sequentially imbibe the values and features as well as the formats of 1000 transcendental designations of the transcendental Lord. Shiv Sahastranam Stotram is a scripture of 1000 transcendental designations of the transcendental Lord. In terms of these 1000 transcendental formulations, that we can have a particular phase and stage for the transcendental grace. It is with this creative order of the intelligence field that sadhakas will be in a position to imbibe the transcendental values preserved as 1000 transcendental names of Lord Shiva. Once one reaches a stage, once one is at phase and stage of imbibing the transcendental values of the transcendental names of Lord Shiva, then one can feel that one is really on the transcendental path. It is with this attainment that one will be blissfully attainable stage. It is this blissful attainable stage at which we have to reach, and we can reach it only by a phased way of Vedic systems of prayer in terms of Ganita Sutras of 29 steps, then as an augmented text, and then with a dimonad format for each of the letters. Once this three-stage limitations, linear order, spatial order and solid order limitations are melted and creative order is preserved and attained, then one will be face to face with the threefold phases and stages of the transcendental grace preserved as Goddess Uma, Goddess Sati and Goddess Parvati. And moment one is face to face with these threefold reservoirs, then one will be within the grace attainment phase and stage of Lord Shiva, as all the three eyes of each head of Lord Shiva will be accepting these sadhakas for the transcendental grace. Therefore, one shall be on a transcendental path by following the transcendental path preserved in the Shiv Puran, and it is only by following and by remaining and by continuously praying and by continuously transcendentally meditating as is preserved in Shiv Puran that we can feel satisfied for our initiation and for our attainment. So only blissful path is to be on the transcendental meditation path of the Shiv Puran. Thank you very much.